The Young and the Restless shocker. Passion, lies, and a sinister comeback shake Genoa City. Genoa City is on fire this week as secrets explode and old enemies return. Mariah finds herself face-to-face with the chilling Ian Ward, whose dark motives threaten everything she loves. Meanwhile, Daniel and Tessa can't escape the tension after their forbidden kiss, but Daniel's passionate confession may turn one mistake into a scandal no one saw coming. And just when it seems things can't get worse, Phyllis dives deeper into chaos, lying to Kane in a desperate move that could destroy her for good. Love, danger, and deceit collide, and every twist pulls you closer to the truth. Don't blink, or you'll miss the moment everything changes. Welcome to Celebrity Gossip 24 Hours, where the drama unfolds and the stories captivate. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Young and the Restless, revealing the untold tales and hidden truths behind the headlines. As Mariah battles a sinister Ian Ward, Daniel and Tessa face the aftermath of their kiss. Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless, Sharon faces an emotional dilemma. Nick asks Victor for a favor, and Daniel tells Tessa he's falling in love with her. At the hospital in Los Angeles, Sharon tells Nick that Mariah needs her. But how can she leave Noah? How do I help her, Nick? She can't be alone. Nick gently points out that Noah won't know if she leaves, but Sharon protests that he can hear her voice. Both of her babies are in pain and she can't fix it. Sharon gets on a call with Mariah's therapist to let her know what's going on. Nick applauds her for looking out for her girl. Sharon goes back in with Noah, and Nick calls his mother, asking her to put Victor on. Nikki says he's gone up to bed. Nick explains there are questions about Noah's accident and fills her in on the detective and Sienna. Nick wants his father to look into the woman. Nikki will see that he gets on it in the morning. Things turn emotional as Nick talks about a tragedy happening to one of his kids again. Is Ian real? At the clinic, Mariah looks around the room, trying to figure out how Ian got there. Ward counsels her to open her eyes and see what's right in front of her. Mariah tells him he's not real. He's in hell where he belongs. Ian smirks. As they go back and forth, Mariah points out he is connected to every painful memory she has in life. Victor shot him, he's dead. Ian pontificates about miracles. Would you like to feel my heartbeat? Cringing, Mariah tells him not to touch her and grits. Leave. Now. He replies, like Tessa did? He embraces her dark side. That's why he's the only one in this world she can count on. Ward questions if she's shutting herself off from the world to protect herself or protect others from her. He wonders if he plays some small part in her current troubles and, turning sinister, declares, I am the entire guiding force behind your entire existence. Mariah tells him he's not even real and hides her eyes. When she looks again, she chirps, peekaboo. As Ian pulls out the Queen of Hearts card, intact, Mariah gawps that Tessa had torn that in half. Ward insists he can help put her back together. She can't shut him out like he can everyone else. Not when he's a part of her. Ian keeps probing if he's the reason Mariah checked in there. Mariah, pacing, exclaims, I can't rid of you no matter what I do. He needles that she keeps him close in heart and mind. She tells him he's disgusting and evil. He mocks, and you're not. He reminds her she haunted Sharon. You're evil. Mariah shouts, No, no, no. I'm not. She'll never believe that. He thinks she already does. Ian needles relentlessly and brings up her cutting out her wife and kid to live the life she wants. Mariah's sick of hearing his voice, but asks what he thinks she should do with her darkness. Ward urges her to let the boring mortals see her in all of her glory. How will she unleash the fire inside her on the world? Cackling, he realizes she's already taken action. Share with me. Mariah keeps telling Ian he doesn't exist, but admits it's about him. It's all about him. He's delighted. His return with Jordan messed with her head. She drank to get rid of him, but it never worked. The sickness he instilled in her squeezed everything else out. She couldn't be a wife and mother. And then there he was. She talks about the man in the hotel bar. He was an echo of Ian. There was the answer to erasing him from her brain and her life. Ian asks, What was your method? Mariah says she smiled back, laughed at his jokes, and even let him kiss her. When he invited her back to his room, she went, This was the solution. By erasing Ian's life, she could regain hers and get rid of the horror he'd instilled in her. How to deal? At the club, Tessa and Daniel make out on the stairway. Tessa pulls back, looks at him, and then kisses him some more. Eventually, she stammers, oh God, I'm sorry." Daniel apologizes for letting that happen. She feels she's been drunk and stupid. He knows she needed a distraction. Tessa says it wasn't an accident. She's thought about kissing him before. It wasn't an accident. Daniel admits he's thought about kissing her too. Sitting, Daniel tells Tessa he never would have acted on it. Tessa questions if she made things weird by doing it. They laugh and admit they won't be able to put it out of their mind like it never happened. Nor will they be able to go to sleep. They'll clear their heads with a walk. At Crimson Lights, Tessa worries she's thrown things off kilter, but Daniel is calm and kind. She's grateful. He admits his mind is doing backflips right now, so she urges him to trust her and to open up. Daniel nixes the idea. Tessa declares, "Then I'll talk." She has feelings for him she can't explain, comfort, but also excitement. The feeling makes her float but also grounds her. She continues for a while and declares that he's truly her best friend. He gasps, "Tessa, I'm falling in love with you." Regretting it instantly, Daniel jumps up to apologize and leave. Tessa tells him that in another timeline, she could fall in love with him too. Tessa asks if it helps Daniel, knowing she could love him too. He tells her this is the only timeline he has. Tessa doesn't know what will happen with Mariah, but she will fight for her marriage and her family. He's still important to her. Daniel wants to put the kiss aside, as well as what he said. "Can we please just leave it in another timeline?" Tessa strokes his face. The final scenes. At Noah's bedside, Sharon and Nick reminisce over a funny memory of their son. Sharon suddenly tells Nick, "I've decided about Mariah." She has to stay there in case something happens. Sharon has faith that Mariah will get the help she needs. She's safe and protected. Back in the clinic, Ian asks how taking some man's life made her feel. Mariah says she covered his face with a pillow and stopped before the life left his body. She realized that by killing him, she would be giving Ian more power. "I would be giving you control." Ian mocks. "The devil made me do it." He declares she couldn't kill that man because she can't kill him. "The darkness that I've awakened in you lives on." Mariah insists she's not like Ward. She didn't take a life because she has human decency, compassion, and logic. She's in there because she has remorse. He tried to make her like him, but it didn't work. She will never be like him. Ian chuckles. If there's one thing he's learned, it's never say never. Mariah informs Ward that he won't break her. "You are nothing and no one, and I want you gone." She closes her eyes and opens them, and he's not there. But, alarmingly, the intact Queen of Hearts remains. Today's next update. Young and the Restless early spoilers October 27th to 31st. Sally's daring gamble and Daniel's passionate confession. Young and the Restless spoilers for October 27th to 31st, 2025. Expect Sally Spectra's taking a big risk and Daniel Romalotti is in love. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week and then we're going to dive into what's next week. Young and the Restless, Sharon distraught and Mariah haunted. So Wednesday, October 22nd, we have Sharon Newman telling Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, that Mariah Copeland said she needs her. Nick encourages Sharon to go be with Mariah in Boston, since Noah Newman is unconscious and won't know if she's there or not. Sharon is very stressed out, says 2 of her kids are broken, but she's also very worried that something will happen to Noah if she leaves and she won't be there for him. So, Sharon calls Mariah's therapist and talks to her about what's going on in her progress. And then she tells Nick that she's going to stay in Los Angeles. Sharon thinks that Mariah is where she needs to be and is getting the help that she needs. But it doesn't look that way actually because Mariah is hallucinating Ian Ward on Wednesday, but she's saying he's dead. She still thinks he's dead. He's not really there. And he says Tessa Porter left her. And then Ian says he's all that Mariah has left. Ian's talking about how he's a part of her and he knows her. Mariah says that's not true and calls him a stalker. Ian is saying he adores the evil inside of her, like when she stalked and haunted Sharon years ago. Ian's actually encouraging her to unleash her darkness. Young and the Restless spoilers. Mariah recalls her trauma. Mariah tells Ian how she met a man that reminded her of him, and they drank. They kissed. She went up to his room. And then Mariah tried to kill the guy. Ian says she couldn't kill the guy because she doesn't want Ian dead. He thinks Mariah likes his darkness too. And bear in mind, this is all inside her head. So, these are all the things she's thinking and fearing about herself. Mariah vows she will never be evil like Ian. And Mariah also promises she will never let Ian break her. She says he doesn't matter and she wants him gone. And then Ian suddenly is gone. But the Queen of Hearts card that Tessa had torn apart is now bizarrely whole, which it was when Ian was touching it. So we're getting supernatural. Really? It's just weird. Y&R spoilers. Nick's investigation and a shocking kiss. Nick calls Nikki Newman about this guy, Detective Burrow, and also tells her that Noah was getting some calls from this woman, Sienna Bacall. So Nikki takes the info on Sienna, says she's going to have Victor Newman's people check her out. Nick is in tears talking to his mom, saying he doesn't want to go through a tragedy with another kid. And Nikki tells him that suffering is part of life. Daniel and Tessa make out until she stops it, and then she apologizes and says she was overstepping. Daniel and Tessa both admit they've thought about kissing each other. Daniel says that, they'll wake up tomorrow and they can just forget it happened, but they agree they can't really forget. And they take a walk to get coffee to talk it through. Tessa admits she has feelings for Daniel and says that he's important to her. Tessa calls Daniel her best friend, and he tells Tessa he is falling in love with her, but he's tearing up about it. And then Tessa says in another timeline she would be falling for Daniel. But Tessa's not done fighting for her marriage. And Daniel agrees that she should keep fighting for her marriage. Young and the Restless, Kyle's undercover mission. Thursday, October 23rd on Young and the Restless. We have got Kyle Abbott trying to find out something about Holden Novak. So, Kyle is spying on Holden, looking for dirt, hoping to convince Claire Grace Newman to cut the guy out of her life. But I don't think it's going to work out well for Kyle. So, at the hotel restaurant, Holden is talking to Sienna and Kyle is lurking nearby and watching, and Claire walks up and asks, "What the heck is Kyle doing?" And he tries to flip it around and says, "Who's that with Holden and what's he doing?" And of course, Claire knows exactly who that is. Also on Thursday, Sienna meets with Nick. And I'm sure Nick wants to know if Sienna can tell him anything about who would target Noah and how they know each other. If Sienna does know who is after Noah, the question is, will she tell Nick? So she called his number 4 times. So it looks like they are in regular contact and she knew something was wrong. Maybe she was helping him with his project to buy the club there. We'll see. Holden may also know Noah because Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, dated both of them, and they have an overlap with Sienna. We'll find out. Phyllis Summers stuns Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn. We know that Phyllis wants to get her hands on Kane's AI program. Maybe she will try and seduce him out of it. Friday on Y&R, Sally's Big Risk and New Alliances. Friday, October 24th on Young and the Restless. We're going to end the week with Sally taking a big risk. She really puts herself out there for Audra. This likely concerns the job offer that Sally gave Audra at Abbott.com. And of course, Sally has had to go begging for investors and talk Jill Abbott into it, but she may not want Audra involved. Billy Abbott has resigned himself to it, so the pushback may come from Jill. Kyle tries to squeeze information out of Sienna about Holden. I'm sure Kyle is hoping Sienna will give him some dirt, tell him something terrible about Holden, but I can't imagine Sienna is going to tell Kyle anything. Damien, Kane, and Phyllis reach an understanding, and it may be about the AI. He may set some parameters. Next week on Young and the Restless, November sweeps kick off. The week of October 27th through the 31st on Young, the Restless is going to be pretty busy. The last 2 days of that week, Thursday, October 30th, Friday, October 31st, are the first 2 days of November sweeps. So hopefully they're going to be building up to big action. Nick is putting all his effort into finding out who tried to kill Noah and why, and he is going to be relentless. Hopefully Nick's going to get some help from Sienna. We also have Roger Howarth's new character due on the scene. Maybe he's the bad guy who's after Noah. You never know. We've also heard Sienna mention her boyfriend Mitch. So that could be who Roger Howarth is playing. Young and the Restless, Danny and Christine's wedding and Kyle's stubbornness. Christine Williams and Danny Romalotti can't wait to get married. They're getting married in November sweeps. I can't imagine that Phyllis is going to be a grown-up and stay away from the wedding. I wonder if she's going to mess with Christine's dress. Just typical Phyllis stuff. Holden may offer to help Sharon and Nick get to the bottom of what happened to Noah, which might get him some brownie points with the Newmans and with Claire. It would definitely impress Victor and Nikki. Claire continues to try to get Kyle to go back to Genoa City. But he doesn't listen to her, and he never does what she asks or respects her boundaries. So I can't imagine he'll go. Tessa and Daniel try to protect their friendship and ignore the sparks they're both feeling. And Mariah is looking like she may get a lot worse before she gets better. We'll see if Ian shows up again to haunt her. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless Thursday, October 23rd recap. Phyllis the Thief lies to Kane. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, October 23rd, reveals that Phyllis Summers the Thief will lie to Kane Ashby, while Nick Newman's suspect Sienna Bacall has secrets. In Phyllis's suite, she'll pat herself on the back for stealing Kane's AI program and now having it on her laptop. Once Kane comes knocking at Phyllis's door, she'll play dumb when he brings up the hacking that resulted in the program vanishing from his servers. Kane will repeatedly push Phyllis to be honest about whether she stole the program, but she'll deny it and suggest Kane should suspect his enemies, starting with Victor Newman. After Kane vows to flesh out the person responsible, he'll warn that Phyllis will regret it if she's lying to him or trying to screw him over. Phyllis will calmly reply that she has nothing to worry about. At the hospital in Los Angeles, Sharon Newman will excitedly tell a nurse about Noah Newman's hand twitching while she was reading to him. The nurse will assume it was just an involuntary muscle spasm and assure Sharon that no change in Noah's condition is actually a good thing right now. Sharon will have an angry meltdown during this conversation before apologizing, but the nurse will understand that she's going through a lot. At the hotel cafe, Claire Newman will find Kyle Abbott watching Holden Novak and Sienna having a tense discussion nearby. Kyle will grow increasingly suspicious of Holden and the mystery woman, but Claire will explain that she already met Sienna at the club Holden took her to. After Claire walks over to Sienna and Holden's table, Nick will pop up and greet Kyle since they'll all be staying at the same hotel. Kyle will get updates on Noah's crash and offer some kind words to Nick. Once Kyle mentions the name Sienna Bacall, Nick will realize the woman talking to Holden is the same one who called Noah's phone. Nick will ultimately step over and catch up with Claire in front of Sienna as well as Holden. That'll lead to Nick offering news on Noah's crash and hospitalization, so Sienna will pipe up about being the person who spoke to Nick over the phone. Nick will ultimately head back to Sienna's nightclub with her so he can ask more questions. Sienna will act like there's not much to tell and will suggest Noah was last there a couple nights ago discussing club logistics. Nick will also learn that Sienna's husband, Mitch Bacall, connected with Noah in London and offered to invest in Noah opening a Los Angeles club branch. Nick will quiz Sienna about why she called Noah and why she disconnected so abruptly, but Sienna will act like it was just to discuss more club stuff and will claim she got flustered. After Nick asks for Sienna's phone number, she'll point out that he already has it thanks to Noah's phone. However, Sienna will hand it over anyway and seem on edge over the whole interaction. Back at the hotel on Thursday's Y&R episode, Kyle will get online and hope to find out more about Holden by researching his friend. Kyle will look at information on the Shadow Room, which is the club that Sienna and Mitch run. After Holden drives Claire to the hospital, he'll chat with Sharon briefly and sit in the waiting room. That'll give Claire a chance to share some sweet words with comatose Noah and extend some support to Sharon too. Sharon will talk to Claire about her connection with Nick and always having that one person she can count on. It'll seem like it affects Claire, who'll later have a softer conversation with Kyle. Kyle will ultimately tell Claire that he's going home to Genoa City, so she'll seem surprised as she asks if he's giving up. Holden will speak with Nick at the hospital, but Nick won't buy it when Holden downplays all the Sienna connections and acts like it's a small world. Nick will tell Sharon about his meeting with Sienna and will insist she's definitely hiding something. Afterward, Holden will track Sienna down at the Shadow Room and warn her about the powerful Newman family having a reach that could extend from Genoa City to Los Angeles. Holden will also demand to know how well Sienna knows Noah and how much she knows about what happened to him. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sienna will get tangled up in more Newman drama soon, so stay tuned. For more of the latest updates and behind-the-scenes secrets from Young and the Restless, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Stay in the know with every new release.